Welcome to the Tim Booker Book Sharing Channel. Here, we delve into the endless world of words, savor captivating stories, and share insights and reflections. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated. Let's embark on this reading journey, experience the allure of words, and explore the ocean of knowledge together.
Today, I'm sharing a monumental piece of popular science literature, the Pulitzer Prize-winning work, The Emperor of All Maladies, a biography of cancer. What makes this book a masterpiece? Let's start with the 8 words, Pulitzer Prize-winning work. The Pulitzer Prize is renowned in the American journalism realm, often hailed as the Nobel Prize of Journalism. It's essential to note that the keyword for the Pulitzer Prize is journalism. The Emperor of All Maladies narrates the story of cancer, albeit steeped in scientific knowledge. It clinched the highest honor in journalism, showcasing its exceptional nature. The uniqueness of this book lies in the author's departure from the confines of medicine, attempting to perceive cancer through the lens of societal and human development. The humanistic care emitted throughout the text leaves a lasting impression. As Fu Shumin expressed, this book considers cancer not merely as a disease but as part of humanity, marking its history. Viewing cancer solely as an illness or an enemy seems overly one-dimensional. The author, while tracing the discovery and treatment of cancer as the narrative backbone, systematically unravels the thoughts, actions, and societal responses within the American medical sphere when facing cancer. The significance therein has transcended the battle against cancer itself. Despite our reluctance to admit it, cancer is undeniably becoming increasingly prevalent in today's society. Beyond the high incidence among the elderly, occurrences of cancer in younger adults are no longer unheard of. One distinctive aspect of cancer among the young and middle-aged is the abruptness of its onset despite seemingly good health and careful lifestyle choices. The mental landslide triggered by cancer seems to outweigh the impacts of rapid physical deterioration. Mukherjee pens this book with the intention to assist readers in grasping 3 fundamental questions before the onset of cancer, effectively engaging in the battle against it. Where does cancer originate? How does one treat cancer upon diagnosis? What should our approach be when facing cancer? The author of this book, Siddhartha Mukherjee, stands as a deserved academic prodigy. After completing his undergraduate studies, he secured the Rhodes Scholarship, enabling him to pursue further education at the University of Oxford. He earned the moniker Nobel Prize for Undergraduates, an incredibly challenging scholarship with only 80 outstanding undergraduates selected annually for advanced studies at Oxford University. To what extent does this scholarship groom elites? Its recipients have subsequently achieved extraordinary success across various fields. Politically, some have ascended to the presidency of the United States, directors of the CIA, prime ministers of Canada and Australia, and chairpersons of the United Nations Security Council. In the business sphere, recipients have held executive positions at Google, Disney, CNN, and McKinsey. In research, they've produced over a dozen Nobel Prize laureates, while those in education have become presidents of Harvard University, University of Oxford, and Princeton University. Therefore, our author Mukherjee is far from an ordinary individual. After attaining a Doctor of Philosophy degree from the University of Oxford, he ventured to Harvard Medical School, earning dual doctorates in philosophy and medicine. By the time he decided to write this book, his identity had undergone further transformation. On one hand, he taught at Columbia University Medical Center, ran his laboratory, frequently published papers in top-tier journals, showcasing his prowess in research. On the other hand, he served as an oncologist, battling at the forefront against cancer daily, witnessing the spectrum of emotions and experiences among cancer patients. Equipped with theoretical and practical reservoirs, Mukherjee resolved to write a book, delving into the formidable demon of cancer, elucidating the efforts humanity has invested in combating it. After 6 years of arduous writing, the book we're about to delve into was born. Let's start with the first question: where does cancer come from? Many believe cancer is a modern occurrence. Since the 19th century, a notion has circulated that cancer is a disease of modern times, resulting from the progress of civilization, industrial advancement, and the fast pace of life. However, did you know this idea lacks scientific basis? In fact, records about cancer date back as early as 1600 BC. Yet, due to factors like the average human lifespan, limited early detection of cancer, and variations in cancer rates among different types, it didn't garner significant attention. Until 2 centuries ago, cancer seemed less fearsome compared to diseases like syphilis and tuberculosis. Firstly, cancer is closely tied to age. The probability of its occurrence exponentially increases with age. For instance, in women around 30, only 1 in 400 might develop breast cancer, while around 70, it becomes 1 in every 9 women. In ancient societies, due to limited medical technology, people often battled infectious diseases like cholera and smallpox at a younger age. Many never lived long enough to face cancer. This is why, until 2 centuries ago, diseases like tuberculosis and syphilis seemed more dreadful than cancer. Modern civilization indeed has some correlation with increased cancer rates. However, it's not civilization causing cancer but rather prolonging human life, consequently exposing us to cancer. Secondly, cancer presents in diverse ways, and past diagnostic limitations led doctors to misattribute many cancer-related deaths to other diseases. Leukemia deaths in the 1950s, for instance, were often attributed to hemorrhaging or infection due to limited diagnostic capabilities. It was only after the invention of X-rays that early-stage breast cancer diagnoses became possible. Medical advancements allowed for more accurate diagnoses, seemingly leading to a significant rise in reported cancer rates. Lastly, modern life has altered the spectrum of cancer manifestations. It has raised the incidence of some cancers while lowering that of others. For instance, in the late 19th century, stomach cancer was prevalent in certain populations, possibly linked to prolonged exposure to specific preservatives and localized bacterial infections. The advent of modern technology subsequently reduced stomach cancer rates. On the other hand, in the 1950s, there was a rapid rise in male lung cancer rates due to increased smoking. As females started smoking later in the 1950s, their lung cancer rates haven't peaked yet. Considering all this, it appears cancer has existed in human societies for a long time, only unrecognized. So, how does cancer come about? In 2003, the Human Cancer Genome Sequencing Project provided the ultimate answer: cancer inherently exists within our genome, awaiting activation. Each cancer patient's cancer is unique because their cancer's genome is unique. In essence, normal cells are uniform, while abnormal cells exhibit individual differences. This might challenge conventional beliefs because, to most, cancer is a disease, often referred to as the emperor of all diseases due to its varied forms and high fatality rates. Yet, from a biological perspective, cancer can't even be considered a disease. In our eyes, disease usually has a negative connotation. A previously vibrant person tends to become physically weak and emotionally down when ill. Disease often seems like a hurdle in our journey to self-improvement. However, cancer is different. Cancer itself represents a better version of us, a more perfect iteration of ourselves. Why? Because cancer cells grow and adapt better and faster than normal cells in the body. If left unchecked, cancer ultimately replaces the former you, evolving into a new, stronger version. There's an example of this perfect yet terrifying cancer cell longevity. The National Cancer Institute has been studying leukemia cells for nearly 30 years, collected from patients who passed away long ago. Despite the patient's deaths, these cells continue to grow with frightening reproductive ability. While cancer patients can't achieve survival, let alone eternal life, cancer cells do. So, how does this frightening perfection arise? In a normal cell, cell division and death are regulated by powerful gene pathways. However, mutations in buried cancer genes disrupt these pathways, allowing cancer cells to grow, thrive, and, at the cost of consuming healthy cells, ensure their survival and strength. Looking solely at a cell's growth, aren't cancer cells far more formidable than normal cells in the body? They possess stronger vitality. From the history of human confrontation with cancer, this enemy behaves like an individualist, highly unconventional, and incredibly cunning. Summing up, let's redefine cancer. Essentially, cancer is a long-standing genetic disease. When we commonly mention cancer, it generally refers to all malignant tumors. Every individual faces a risk of getting cancer, where age and lifestyle significantly influence its occurrence. Once the cancer hidden in our genes is activated, cancer cells proliferate uncontrollably, ultimately forming malignant tumors. The growth rate of these tumors is incredibly fast and, during growth, consumes healthy cells, damaging the body's organs, ultimately leading to the patient's demise. Understanding what cancer is, let's delve into how to treat someone who has cancer. In the prolonged exploration of cancer, doctors attempted various methods, eventually proving the effectiveness of three: radiation therapy, surgery, and chemotherapy. The first method for treating cancer is radiation therapy, also known as radiotherapy, primarily using radiation to irradiate tumors. Radiation therapy originated in 1896 when a medical student used X-rays to treat an advanced stage recurrence of breast cancer. This treatment lasted 18 days, subjecting the patient to excruciating radiation daily. Eventually, the tumor ulcerated and reduced in size, the first recorded successful case of radiation therapy. However, due to the cancer's spread, it didn't save the patient's life. This attempt resulted in a significant conclusion in cancer treatment: X-rays can only treat localized tumors, their effectiveness on metastatic tumors is minimal. In 1902, the Curies discovered radium, a breakthrough in the chemical field applied to cancer treatment. Surgeons fervently adopted radiotherapy, even implanting radium directly into tumors to ensure higher doses of X-ray radiation. The theory behind radiation therapy was that X-rays could selectively kill the most rapidly dividing cells in the human body. As mentioned earlier, cancer is abnormal cell growth, with cancer cells dividing more vigorously than normal cells. Thus, X-rays could kill some cancer cells. However, radiation therapy had two significant shortcomings: it was only effective on localized tumors, and radiation could cause cancer. The doctor who introduced X-rays into cancer treatment suffered significant symptoms due to prolonged radiation exposure. By the mid-1940s, he experienced bone necrosis, resulting in amputations and disfiguring facial surgeries. By his death in 1960, multiple tumors had spread throughout his body. With these evident shortcomings, doctors sought alternative methods that could treat metastatic cancer without causing cancer themselves, leading to radical surgery, i.e., resection. Cancer results from abnormal cell growth, invading organs and disrupting normal tissues. These tumors aren't stationary, they metastasize to distant areas like bones, the brain, and lungs. Initially, doctors would only remove the affected area in breast cancer treatment, but recurrence rates were high. Consequently, by the 1950s, extensive resection, especially radical ones, became the primary choice for many doctors. However, this method significantly impacted patients' lives. Despite this, patients, hoping for a cure, fervently requested radical surgeries to regain health. In 1981, after over 30 years of radical surgeries, a comparative trial's conclusion altered people's perceptions of using surgery to cure cancer. The trial involved 3 groups of breast cancer patients receiving different treatments, comparing recurrence rates, mortality, and distant migration rates. These treatments were radical mastectomy, simple mastectomy, and a combination of surgery with radiotherapy. The results showed no statistical difference among the 3 treatments' effectiveness. Patients undergoing radical mastectomy paid a hefty price physically without gaining more hope for survival. Amidst the instability in the effectiveness of surgical treatments, doctors turned to a third method: chemotherapy. In the history of cancer treatment using chemotherapy, one name stands out: Lee Mincio. In the 1950s, Lee conducted research in the U.S. on treating choriocarcinoma, a highly lethal placental cancer. Lee ingeniously applied drugs used for leukemia treatment to choriocarcinoma patients, achieving remarkable results. However, Lee's decision to continue treatment until the hormone HCG levels dropped to 0 stirred controversy. While some believed this signaled a cure, Lee argued that as long as HCG existed, cancer persisted, pushing for further treatment. This led to his dismissal from the National Cancer Institute, accused of experimenting on patients with unpredictable, highly toxic doses. Despite the criticism, years later, patients prematurely discontinuing treatment inevitably experienced cancer recurrence, while those treated according to Lee's approach did not. Subsequent studies validated Lee's initial conclusions, suggesting that cancer treatment should continue even after visible signs disappear. Lee sacrificed his career but paved the way for the first documented case of an adult being cured of cancer through chemotherapy. After discussing the three main methods of cancer treatment, radiation therapy, surgery, and chemotherapy, let's talk about how one can stay away from cancer. Firstly, we need to acknowledge a fact: cancer inherently exists within the human genome, waiting to be activated. Each of us carries this lethal burden from birth. Hence, having a reverent attitude towards this disease is not an exaggeration. However, not everyone will get cancer, it's a rare event, so there's no need to overly worry about it. How rare is this probability? Let's consider, our genome harbors two types of genes, oncogenes, and tumor suppressor genes. We know cancer fundamentally involves the uncontrollable growth of cancer cells. Before the onset of the disease, these cancer cells, like other cells in our body, grow, divide, and die normally. If we liken cell mutation to a car, oncogenes are the accelerator, and tumor suppressor genes are the brakes. In normal cells, oncogenes remain inactive, and cells only divide upon receiving specific growth signals. In cells where oncogenes are activated, they are forced into a perpetually hyperactive state, uncontrolled and continuously dividing, a maximum acceleration of cancer. However, oncogenes need mutations to activate, and mutations are rare events. Moving on from oncogenes, let's discuss the other type of gene, tumor suppressor genes. In normal cells, tumor suppressor genes primarily stop cell division upon receiving certain signals. In cancer cells, these genes become inactive after mutations, unable to restrain the rampant cell division. Typically, each tumor suppressor gene has two copies, so it takes two independent mutations to deactivate it, a highly rare occurrence. Hence, cancer's progression is prolonged and slow, requiring multiple repeated mutations across genes. Although cancer is an unpredictable bomb buried within us, the risk of detonation isn't as high as imagined. The author suggests that while theoretically, everyone carries a risk of cancer, the probability is closely related to age and lifestyle habits. The older one gets, and the unhealthier the lifestyle, the higher the chances of developing cancer. The secret to fighting cancer lies in finding ways to prevent susceptible cells from mutating or eliminating mutated cells without compromising the growth of normal cells. Secondly, we must confront this issue: if, under current medical standards, cancer cannot be cured, how should we face it? Cancer's evolution isn't simple cloning. Each generation of cancer cells creates some cells genetically different from the parent cell. Thus, when chemotherapy drugs and the body's immune system attack cancer cells, mutated cells can resist these attacks, ensuring the survival of the fittest. From this perspective, cancer appears incurable. This conclusion seems bleak, but from a scientific viewpoint, it offers a different insight. Science represents humanity's desire to understand the world, while technology combines this desire with the ambition to control the world. Medicine, as a scientific discipline, isn't just about treating diseases, it aims to improve human life by intervening in life itself. Perhaps from birth, cancer has defined the boundaries of our existence. With each passing year, as cells divide repeatedly and mutations accumulate mercilessly, cancer might represent the end of our lives. If destined to be entwined with this ancient disease, perhaps redirecting our focus from eradicating death to prolonging life could be the true victory in humanity's battle against cancer. Lastly, let's discuss the relationship between humans and cancer. The United States, at the forefront of the fight against cancer, didn't initially recognize the importance of treating cancer. From discovering cancer to understanding it and investing heavily in its research, the journey hasn't been easy. Every tiny advancement in understanding cancer involves the contributions of numerous individuals. Doctors like Lee Mincio, as mentioned earlier, even sacrificed their entire careers. This book portrays scientific research against the backdrop of societal development, influencing the destinies of doctors, researchers, patients, and even the history of cancer's evolution. Cancer is a unique disease that should be viewed in the historical context of human societal development. While an individual's life might seem insignificant, the collective efforts across generations, despite the uncertainty of results, the pursuit of discoveries, and a continuous exploration, demonstrate the unique yet touching wisdom and emotion of the human species. Alright, we've covered the essence of this book. Let's summarize briefly. This book delves into everything about cancer. It's a genetic disease where cells proliferate uncontrollably, caused by extremely rare genetic mutations. Every one of us carries the risk of getting cancer, and the probability of developing it is closely linked to age and lifestyle habits. The older you get and the unhealthier your lifestyle, the greater the likelihood of developing cancer. The key to preventing cancer lies in preventing susceptible cells from mutating or eliminating mutated cells without harming the growth of normal cells. Currently, the three primary methods for treating cancer are radiation therapy, surgery, and chemotherapy. However, cancer cell development isn't a simple clone. Each generation of cancer cells becomes more robust and more resistant to drugs than the previous one. Therefore, achieving a complete cure for cancer is highly challenging under current medical standards. Nevertheless, modern medicine strives to enhance the quality of life for cancer patients, aiming to minimize the damage caused by cancer to the body and extend the lifespan of cancer patients. That's it for today. Congratulations on finishing another book. Thank you all for your support and attention. Please subscribe to the Tim Booker channel, like, and share this valuable knowledge with your friends. Let's combine wisdom with practice, achieve our financial goals, and create a better future together. Thank you all, goodbye.